And welcome back to Little Cuts, our weekly mini-sode where we dig into the things that we've been, I think, just watching recently. I'm Terry.
And I'm Mary Beth, and this week we're talking a wholesome cooking show, the Outwaters Extended Universe, a video game adaptation, vampires on a boat, and Chucky is an arsonist.
He really is. Boy, I can't wait to talk about Chucky. Um,
Really quick, just before we
yes.
jump into, I just want to say, Skinamarink screening was
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
Um, it was really scary on the big screen. I'd already seen it, but good God, it was. I at one point was like, I was crushing my face like this, and I thought I was gonna throw up at one point, and I took a little bit of edibles, and by a little
Oh,
bit,
Mary
like a
Beth.
decent amount. I knew what I was doing, but I was transported to a hell world. Uh, it was not even 100. Leave me alone. But it was a good, decent chunk, and it was a nightmare, and it was
I
great.
mean, I can
So,
imagine. I can
um,
imagine.
yeah.
Um, I,
So
so
it was
did
great
did
seeing it.
everyone? Did other people in the theater? How was the audience? Did they like it? Was there?
So only okay. So I was sitting near they sat because I did an introduction, so I was like sitting in an aisle seat so I could get in and out. And I was like, I
Mhm.
told Steve, I was like, well, now I can see when people walk out because like I was expecting it, and I wasn't, and it wasn't out of a judgment thing because I was just literally curious because it's a
Mhm.
weird fucking movie, and I've heard like a lot of people had said there were huge walkouts at their screening, so I was just curious. Only two people walked out, and it was it was a sold out 100-person
Nice.
theater, so only two people walked out. So I was like, okay, that's pretty good for what this was for Washington D.C. It's not the most like artsy town, so I wasn't
This is an
sure.
artsy movie, that is for
It's an
sure.
artsy movie, and I mean the vibe was so, it was an Alamo. And so the vibe was like it wasn't just movie theater quiet, it was like no one was breathing quiet. Like everyone was on like pins and needles, like
Mm.
very like it was so tense. It felt like it was disorienting kind of. And again, like yes, I was on edibles. We'll take this out with a grain of salt. But like it was like you could tell that people were like unsure what was going on. And I like the person next to Steve was like scrunched up watching it in his chair, and it seemed like it resonated
Oh, good.
relatively well. Like
I
no
feel
one ended, no one, it wasn't over, and no one went, what the fuck was that, you know what I mean? Like
right.
there was no like outrage. And I think again Alamo's like a night, like it's not, people are like going out for a night at the Alamo, you know what I mean, like you're going
Right.
out for
Hmm.
dinner and stuff, so it's like a little bit, I think it's not like teenagers going to go see a movie at the AMC kind of crowd, you know what
Right.
I mean?
Yeah.
So but
Well,
still.
and I do think that of the ways to watch that movie, being in a movie theater, particularly one like Alamo, where you're not allowed to be on your phone, is probably the best way to watch it because, I mean, I think it's a movie that you can easily get distracted watching.
Oh, 100%. And I also think it's coming to Shutter soon. They haven't announced the date yet, but I think what it does play really well watching it on a laptop with like in the pitch black with noise canceling headphones. Like it play that's like the second best way to watch it. So, and that's also very scary because you're usually by yourself. So excited for people to experience that. But yeah, it was a good screening. It was cool to
Oh
watch
yeah.
it on the big screen. Steve, I love him so much, came with me. And like this is
What did
very
he
much a me
think?
movie. And he was
Hmm.
like, I appreciated what it was doing, but it's not for me. And I was like, you know
Yeah.
what? That's very fair. Like,
Hmm.
there's parts of it. Oh, there's parts of it where he was like, that's too much. Like, that was just too much. Like, it's just unnecessary. Not, but yeah. And I was like, oh, I love that shit. But he also, Steve doesn't like things that are like, like you're fucked the whole time. He doesn't like movies where it's like there's nothing you can do and you're just kind of stuck. And I
Hmm.
love that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit challenging for him. But anyway,
Cool.
That aside, let's talk about a wholesome cooking show. Completely on the opposite end of that.
Oh my god. Yes,
But I want to hear it.
absolutely. But, I am in love with this show, and I'm also worried for this show because I've not heard anyone talking about it, and it's on HBO Max, and well, we know what happens with shows on HBO Max. But it is The Big Brunch.
I love the Big Brunch.
So you watched it?
I've watched 3 episodes. I haven't watched a lot of it, but it's like the best vibe of my entire life, and I
It's
love it. I love it so much.
it's
It's so
basically
good.
like it reminds me. This is the first show that I think has like captured the same kind of cozy feeling of like the British Baking Show, where
Hmm.
it's like all the contestants seem to like care about each other and want to see everyone do well, and when people leave, it's not like some kind of fake thing. It's like people seem to
Yeah.
really care. Plus, you also have Sola talking about throwing F bombs everywhere and talking about some guys, your balls are big, talking about balls that are on a plate. But like, it's wholesome, but then it also has a lot of fucks. And it's rated TVMA because of the language. And yet it is the most wholesome thing. It's hosted by Dan Levy and Sola from Bon
Sola's
Appetit.
Sola's a little bit of a bitch in it though.
I
Not that I don't like that, but like she's savage. Like she's like not afraid to be like, this ain't it. I love it.
She is, but there's also like this point where I got to where she's like sitting back and she's like, "Oh, I like these people now. Fuck." And because it's like getting harder because like once they, get rid of some of the couple people, it's like such a small group
Yeah.
and you start to get to know their story and their cooking style and everything. But it's a cooking competition. They're making brunches. They have like an appetizer meal and then a full course. And they have this bartender that is serving the judges alcohol, whatever they want. And so it like has this very like low key feel to it, but it's very cozy. And it reminds me of the Great British Baking Show. And I am absolutely enamored with it. There's I think 10 episodes. Is it 8 episodes? I think it's 8 episodes. I'm like on episode 6, I think, so I'm getting close to the end of it. I really hope it gets renewed because I'm really, really enjoying it.
I love the kitchen and like the restaurant setting they use. It's so
Hmm.
cozy. It's like it's very much like cute diner
Yeah,
feel, like upscale cute diner feel. And it's just like again, it's very cozy. It's very like it's obviously a cooking show, but it doesn't feel as like high stakes, high like go go go. It's
right.
I don't know. It is really sweet, and Dan Levy is just my favorite. So
I love him. And I
it
love
is a
Sola.
very
When I didn't know Sola was in it, I was like, ooh, Dan Levy's doing a cooking show. I gotta watch this. And then when Sola was on, I went, ah! It's like
I want
Sola! I
I
love
want
her.
oh now I want brunch.
I always want brunch.
Brunch is so good. What's
I'm
your
going to
favorite brunch
brunch this
food?
weekend.
What's your
We're
favorite
going
brunch
to a
food?
drag brunch.
Oh fuck yeah! Wait, that reminds me, I'm seeing Shangela on Friday. Anyway,
You're seeing Shangela?
yes, I'm very excited. My friend got tickets, and she's like, "Do you want to come?" I was like, "Oh fuck yeah, I
Do
want to
I
come
want to
see
come?
Shangela."
Yes.
Yeah, duh.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Anyway,
Uh,
derailed.
I am always ready to be derailed with brunch and drag
Ugh,
queens. Like, sign me the
yes.
fuck up.
Ugh. Ugh.
Tickets for the Dragula tour for Christmas. That's so cool. That's what Kate was saying in our chat. Oh, that would be so
Oh yeah.
cool. Okay, so the Outwaters extended universe? Question mark?
So, okay. So they're Robbie Banfitch, friend of the show, uh, past guest, future guest, friend and colleague, housewife lover. Finally, he has been telling me to watch these two films that are
I
a
know.
prequel and a kind of follow up to his feature film, The Outwaters. And I watched them over the weekend, and I'm so glad I did because they're absolutely incredible. And Robbie is the coolest, and I know that we are friends with Robbie, and it sounds biased, but it really is like very incredible, authentic feeling found footage filmmaking. So the first one, so Card Zero is the like the prequel kind of the card that they find in Robbie's apartment after they disappear in the desert in the Outwaters, and it's basically about him and his boyfriend and breaking up with his boyfriend, but then also potentially hinting that when they scouted the location where they filmed the Outwaters, something came back with them. And then there is file VL624, which is like a bunch more kind of experimental-y. It's like got Skinamarink vibes. Like there's a creepy voice saying things over footage, and it's got a more experimental vibe, but it's like recovered footage from the card, like from the cards, I think. And so basically what Robbie has created is this incredible kind of like extended lore around the Outwaters. And I know that these will be available when the Blu-ray comes out, because they're not available readily available right now. But like especially Card Zero, is such like a deeply sad, authentic portrayal of being so in love with someone, but then what happens when they leave you. But it's also not like dramatic. It's just it's quiet, but you feel like the way that Robbie films it, it's very authentic, and really creepy too. So Robbie's doing some really cool stuff, and I wanted to tell everyone about it and get them excited for the Outwaters. It's coming to theaters soon too, and Screenbox. But yeah, those are two things I watched this weekend to kind of like get that full package. And it's really cool what he's making with this world of the Outwaters and like the stuff he's creating that kind of branches off from the movie.
Yeah, I'm really excited for people to. Right now. What's that?
There's some really cool shit happening right now in movies.
Yeah, I'm really excited for people to be able to see the Outwaters.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we've been talking about it almost a year. It seems like you've been a year, right?
Yeah, because I saw it about a year ago. Because Robbie cold emailed me the Dread Central inbox and was like, "Hey, will you watch my movie?" And I did, and I was like, this is the coolest shit I've ever seen." And now it's going into theaters.
I know. I really hope that it's playing near me, because I want it. This is a movie I really want to see in the movie theater. I'm jealous of.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just jealous of people that have a chance to see it. So I'm hoping that it comes here.
I'm hoping that Alamos will do it. Hopefully.
I keep checking mine.
Yeah, I need to bother mine. But yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I have been meaning to watch it as well. I was talking with Robbie earlier this week, and I was like, "Hey, can you send that to me in my email? Because I need to watch it."
Yeah, I know. I finally was like, "God damn it! I promise. Like, I'm not avoiding you. I
know.
Can't remember. I have too many things I have to watch."
Seriously.
But you also watched a video game adaptation, and I assume I know what this is, and I have not watched it yet, and I don't know why I haven't.
I watched the first episode of The Last of Us. I did not request screeners for this one because I don't have time, and I'm covering Servant right now.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm just going to enjoy this and sit down and watch it. I'm a huge fan of the video game. I'm particularly a huger fan of the sequel. And this first hour and a half, it was an hour and a half episode, was really good. So it follows a similar structure to the video game, where unlike the video game, there's like an opening set in like 1960s with two scientists kind of talking about diseases. And one person's like, "I'm not afraid of diseases, I'm afraid of fungus." And the whole audience kind of laughs as they're like interviewing him. And he's like he's bringing up examples of cordyceps and like zombie ants, the stuff that gets in them, causes them to like go kind of dead inside minus their brain. And then they latch onto something, and then it comes out of their head and explodes and infects other people. And talking about, well, what happens if that were to happen with humans? So it kind of gives us a little bit of a setup as to exposition to like what's going to happen. But then it cuts forward to Joel with his daughter, and the sort of the night that shit kind of goes crazy. And then it cuts forward 20 years later, and it follows pretty much the beats of the video game so far, where Joel is like grumpy older man, I guess I should say, who, he's had a lot of trauma. A lot of people have had a lot of trauma.
I can fix him.
Please, Pedro, let me fix him. He's...
I saw a video on my fucking timelines today where Pedro Pascal said, I'm your sexy, slutty daddy. And I was like,
I saw that on TikTok.
I'm going to lose my mind.
Listen, here's the thing. There is, okay. Is it okay if I spoil what happens in the opening minutes?
Well, I mean, is it just like the video game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean,
I'm gonna talk around it. All right, so there is in the opening bit where that's set in like 2003, I think, is the kind of prelude to this, and there's this really sad moment where he's holding someone who is dying, and all I could do is focus on his fucking bicep that was like ripped and like poking through, because he's like holding this person like this, and I'm like, this is really sad, but I am mesmerized by those guns.
Pedro Pascal.
Yes.
Hold me closer on the highway.
Basically, I couldn't stop. I was like, I'm supposed to be really sad right now, but I can't take my eyes off these fucking biceps. Like, choke me out. And Purpurina's like, little cuts, thirst for life. And yes, that describes, I think, both of us to a T.
Okay, I'm back.
So I think I broke Mary Beth with that, but
Just that choked me out just in there. Ooh. Anyway.
But yeah, so it's a really good start. It's very, it's very, I would say, what's the word? Faithful. It's very faithful to the video game. It's like, what is this word in my head, and why can't I get it out? Very faithful to the video game, but it is definitely giving room for deviations, I would say. And I think it's going to be masterful. I'm really excited to continue with this one.
Hell yeah.
So,
cool.
HBO Max.
I need to watch that. I want to. I just haven't. I have no excuse.
Well, when you do, make sure you're paying attention to his biceps in the very sad scene.
I think it's hard for me. Like, I'm really excited for it, but I think it's just hard because, like, I know the game, and I know that it's pretty faithful to the game, so it's a little bit harder to be like, for me, and be like, oh, cool, like, what's gonna happen? Where it's like, I kind of know, so I don't feel the urgency as much, but I have a feeling I'm going to eat those words probably as it progresses. Like, they probably are going to do something cool that I'll be like, oops, but
I'm really excited for the part where we get to Nick Offerman's character. He's playing Bill. And Bill...
Wait, really?
Yeah. Bill was a gay man, and I believe... I'm not 100% sure because people have been talking around it, but they said that a character gets a whole episode devoted to them. And I'm kind of wondering if we're going to see an episode with Bill and his love story.
Oh.
Is what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Because people were kind of talking around it.
I meant to request screeners, and then I was like, it's fine. I'll be fine. It's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really good.
Okay.
Really enjoying it. Absolutely. Vampires on a Boat. I know what this is. I saw this like a while ago, I think.
Okay. So I want to talk about this not just because of the movie, but because of the experience of the entire evening around watching this movie. So this movie is Blood Vessel. It is a 2019, I think so. Vampire movie, but it's like Nazis on a boat and Nazi vampires on a boat. So, like, you know, the annoying, like, horror obsession with having occult Nazis in World War II, even though we're in the almost 2020 at this point with this movie, whatever. But we watched it. So Steve and I went over to our only other friends IRL that like horror. We went to their house to smoke weed, get drunk, eat Chinese food, and watch horror movies. That was literally the agenda of the evening. We do this once every couple of months, and it's the best. So the vibe was, let's find something kind of dumb to watch. And Steve saw it Blood Vessel on Tubi and was like, that sounds like something fun to watch with friends when you're drinking. And we were all like, you are correct. And it wasn't great. The script is pretty terrible. The vampires are kind of cool looking, and it feels like a totally different movie. But all I know is that we had a lot of fun watching it because we smoked a lot of weed, and I had 3 old fashions, and
Ooh,
eating a lot of Chinese food.
I mean,
So like
sign me up.
it was no, it was like incredible. Like it was such a good movie for that because it's not like a great movie, but it's fun enough that you're like, cool. This is a fun thing to watch with friends. Like it's entertaining, kind of predictable, but like again, relatively for what it is, and like for what it is, it's not bad. But what follows? We were like, let's change it up. Let's watch something scary. And I was
Oh
like,
no.
oh, we want to watch something scary. So I start throwing out suggestions, and we land on The Dark and the Wicked.
Why? Mary Beth, why?
I am an agent of chaos. I was like, all right, so this is like one of the scariest movies I've ever seen, like recently. Guide to the Strangers. Like, you guys want to watch it? And they were like, yeah, we do. And it was incredible. They loved it. Steve and our 2 friends, they loved it, but they were like, that's fucked up. I was like, you're welcome.
That's a bleak one.
Uh-huh. And
Listen
so
to our
afterward,
Fresh Wounds episode on it.
yeah. If you're not a patron, you should become one. Listen to our whole almost 2-hour conversation about it. But yeah, the whole night was awesome because then after that we had to watch like YouTube videos of like old like 1990s dating show clips because we were like, and then oh my god, and so you know the line where like, can you smell him? He's rotting. You know that part? Fucking Steve kept saying that like like he literally like came out of the bathroom and like out of the shower was like, can you smell him at me? And I was like, you are the devil.
Amazing.
Like, I've seen this movie 3 times, and that's yeah. But yeah, so that was. I wanted to recount the whole experience because it was very fun. I don't
That's
often have people and other friends who are horror people, like IRL friends, so it's nice to be able to hang out with them and like watch scary movies. Because a lot of my friends are babies, and I mean that with so much love, but they're babies.
Kate said that that she was disappointed in the Blood Vessel, and I was too when I first saw it. But I do think that you saw it under the most ideal circumstances.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have probably kept watching it if I was watching it like by myself. Like Steve said, if I saw this on the Sci-Fi Channel 10 years ago, I would have been okay.
Yeah, I think I saw it from a festival. I can't remember. I think it was Panic Fest or something.
It had like a surprisingly decent festival run. I remember like hearing about it, and people were like,
it's a horror collective movie.
It is a horror collective movie, yeah.
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 Cool.
Yeah.
That sounds like a fun night.
It was a fun night. It was very good. And I was hungover the next day, and I haven't been hungover in a very long time, so worth it. Nothing
oh my gosh.
Egg McMuffin can't fix. What?
Right. When we hang out again, we must drink old fashions together. I love old fashions.
Oh yeah, yes, we have to, and then we'll be hungover together, and then we can get breakfast sandwiches the next day.
Hell,
this is how I think. What can I eat the next day? But let's talk about the next episodes of Chucky that we watched, episodes 3 and 4.
Yes. So I forgot how like brisk this show moves. that we're
Yeah,
like
shit.
in episode 3 and we're burning down one of the leads' house.
That was iconic scene of Chucky lighting a house on fire full of middle school students who are doing a silent disco in the house, and then he also stabs a child,
Brutally murders a child.
middle school student. Like, I knew, like, we had talked about how brutal this show was, and I very much was like saw that with the first 2 episodes, but like, no one is safe, and they definitely are like hammering that home. Like, oh no, we'll set an entire house of middle schoolers ablaze and brutally stab one, and you'll like it. And I did.
Yeah, so the premise of the episode 3 is Chucky's trying to get Jake to kill, and Jake can't do it, and so Chucky's like, bring me to Lexi, I will take care of her. And so Lexi ends up getting the doll because her sister Caroline is in love with it. And there's this really funny moment where Caroline and Chucky get like, which, okay, pausing a second, it creeps me out. One of the things that really creeps me out that is never really addressed is this idea that that we have a kid sleeping in bed next to Chucky, who is an old man who is like being hugged by all these 13-year-olds. And he's a serial killer, and he's an old man. Like, there's like
it's
weird dynamic there.
I take solace that it seems like he kind of leaves the body when that happens for the most part, and like he doesn't. Yeah, it's gross.
It's very weird. And so we have Chucky and Caroline in bed, tucked in very snugly, and he says, "Hey kid, I'm gonna go kill your sister. I wanna come.
Wanna come? I'm tired.
I'm sleepy. You snooze, you lose." And he goes off to like fucking kill her.
I'm gonna kill your sister. Wanna come?
It's so funny. It's just so funny to me. I think that this show like leans into more, because like I would think back with like Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky, there was some dark humor, but a lot of it was a little bit more campy and satirical almost. Whereas like this is like dark, pitch black horror. This kid is like, I'm sleepy. I don't want to kill my sister. It's like funny, but it's also very fucking dark.
Well, yeah, and especially this is a USA sci-fi show too. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't like HBO Max. Like, this is, you know, it's wild for what is created and what they've made with it, which I'm continually impressed by with what they do and how they're pushing boundaries with what you can show on screen, especially because, again, like, these are very explicitly children. Like, these aren't, again, I said this last time, but like, they're kids
and played by kids. Like, these are young actors too.
Man, I love Jake, but he's a little over the top sometimes with the puppy dog facial expressions.
Oh my gosh, he does a lot of face acting.
Like, and like, he's a kid, and I feel mean saying that, but like, he definitely, especially in the episode 4, I feel like there's a lot of like pouty lips that's like kind of overwrought, and I'm just like, buddy, tuck it in. To put the lip back.
Yeah, no, that's a valid criticism, because I thought that the first time I was watching it. By the end of it, I was like, oh my gosh, where is the? Because he does a lot of like.
Yeah, especially in the hospital scene, he's just like, and like little like pouty longing faces. It's like but you know what? It's fine. But it was distracting for these ones especially. I was like, good lord, my boy, my man, get it together.
Get it together,
but
kid.
I do also love like the love story with them too. Like, they are showing like a cute queer love story of like 2 boys, middle school boys, kind of falling for each other, and it's not. Like, I think it was in this episode 2, but they did like the 7 Minutes in Hell, and they weren't like, there wasn't like homophobia. Like, when they came out of the closet, even if nothing happened, everyone's like, woo, you know what I mean? Like, it didn't feel as like gay, which we see in so many other things. So, I mean, I can see why everyone loves the queer representation in this, because it's really sweet.
It's incredibly sweet. They're so adorable together.
They're so sweet. I just love those actors, and I
Hmm.
hate how they're trying to get me to care about Lexi.
I know. I was gonna ask
She's
you.
such a like. I'm so resistant. They keep being like,
Oh,
you
me
know,
too.
they show like her mom and her dad. Also, the dad is played by the actor who was Nika's fucking therapist in Cult of Chucky.
Oh shit, was it really?
Yes, I'm almost positive that that is the same actor.
I mean, he does this
He
like
does it a lot. Yeah.
with the cop in Curse of Chucky.
Yeah.
He was also no, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, the cop in Curse of Chucky was also in Cult of Chucky as the patient that
Mhm.
has dissociative identity
Yeah.
disorder, I think is what it's called.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so he does that a lot, and he will do that with well, I don't want to spoil anything, so.
Um, but we see like Lexi's mom is the mayor, and they're never
Hmm.
around, and her sister, her sister I think is coded as being neurodivergent. Her like she's
Hmm.
she doesn't like being touched. She needs very specific things, and there's like a strained relationship there, and she has to take care of her kid sister, but her kid sister is different and her parents aren't around, and it's like, we get it, bullies like have a hard home life, but I don't mean that in like a condescending way. I know it sounds terrible, but it just I feel like it's in every movie. It's like feel bad for them, and it's like
Yep.
I just feel like there's other characters we could be putting in here that aren't like the cruel bully versus like the nerd that have to come together. Like I know it's a tried and true trope, but can we break out of it just a little bit? Because I just think she's terrible, and I
She's
know she's a
terrible.
kid, but
She's a
she's
terrible human being. Like, she is evil personified. Like, if I had to
but just
choose between having Chucky as a friend or her as a friend, I'm taking the murderous doll.
they just move so quickly from like she is dressing up as his dead dad at a
Yep.
Halloween party to like they're partnering up. And I understand it's because they are the only two that kind of know that Chucky's alive because she sees Chucky attacks her, she
Hmm.
escapes, and then she and realizes, oh, Jake gave me the doll on purpose to
It
kill
was so
me.
funny. Why
And
is your doll coming after me? Because I told him to. I love that was like a moment that happened though, where it's like, because here's the thing: when you start to think about it, it is really sociopathic that he is giving this murderous doll to this 13-year-old
oh,
with the
oh
intent of
yeah,
having her be murdered. Like, again, with the dark
it's
comedy,
fucked.
it's very fucked
Yeah.
up. But as a story that is not based on real life and is like a story, I'm like, yeah, that is what happens. That's what's gonna happen because she
Yep.
is a horrible person. And that my biggest complaint about the show is the fact that they try to make us like her. And I'm like, I don't care. What she does in the first two episodes, in my mind, is she's irredeemable.
Exactly. And like I know they're trying to make a message about bullying and all that
Hmm.
stuff, but I do think it's just like can we just have a different narrative here of the poor kid who is being traumatized by this person and then having to be forced to become friends with that person. It's just yeah.
I I do love the half melted Chucky doll when they go back to the
Oh, I
house
know.
and his face is like just melting.
Yes. And then the ending when he just like puts like is flipping them all, and then it's oh my god, what is the crush's name? The boy crush's name?
Devin.
Devin. Like, and now Devin knows because Devin starts doing a Google search about. Of course, we
Hmm.
get the true crime podcast boy finding out about the truth about Chucky, but then we didn't even mention that we get kind of backstory on Charles Lee Ray.
Hmm.
The typical Saul serial wait, not typical actually. Serial killer kills his dad, then he gets inspired by the serial killer and kills his
And kills
mom.
his mom.
And the serial killer's like, "Nice work, kid." And then he is like we see him as like an older like a teenager at a orphan is it I guess an orphanage
Hmm.
and being friendly with the kids like with kids and seeming to do well with kids and being a friendly dude in a very hilarious clashing plaid pattern outfit with the pants and the shirt. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So
Some great lines in this though too. My favorite is when Chucky is trying to get Jake to drop Lexi when they're investigating the house, and he's like, it's just one less vicious Karen on training wheels. And I was like, she totally is going to be a Karen when she grows up, if she survives.
If she survives. I did love the parents fighting in the hospital waiting room too, whether it's like, I don't know why. I think it's just like we focus so much on the kids and how a lot of times in these movies how kids are affected, but seeing adults like snapping under it was really interesting. And I think I'm also interested in like those dynamics that they're kind of like working with there, especially Devin's mom. She's a badass because she seems to be on the trail that like something is very weird here.
Right.
And I love it.
Yeah, she's a badass. I still love the teacher, Miss Fairchild, I believe is her name.
Yeah, she's like, I don't
just
feel
like
talking about my students.
Just like being a complete badass. Also, very small little details, but I love that the credit Chucky title sequence is different with each episode. Like this one was all about. This one had like a bunch of needles in it for episode 4 because he kills the cop with the needles. And I love that we open up with like instead of previously on, it's Chucky saying previously on fucking Chucky.
Yeah.
I love these little tiny it adds character and adds just another layer of Chucky humor to it. And
yes.
I just think it's fun. I just love this show.
Yeah, it's good. It continues to surprise me with like how well made it is.
It's gonna get. You were talking about being brutal. It's gonna get vicious. I'm surprised at how quickly things go tits up in this show.
More than what it already has.
Oh, girl, strap on, strap in, strap in.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Just you wait. I can't believe that came out.
Strap on. We're
Yeah,
doing great.
Hold on to your butts. How's that?
That's great.
Because it's
I think that's
it. Again, we have like 4 episodes left in this season because it's an 8-episode season, and shit's just gonna get wild.